Welcome back to Real Estate with Mariah and Spenc. Today we are going to answer a question that you may be wondering if you're a home buyer. It's something that we've been asked recently. So I had a home buyer who is moving to our area in Oregon from out of state ask me, how is the process of buying a home different when you're using a realtor versus when you're not? Because she is someone who has purchased a home once in the past, but it was without a real estate agent. And then this time they're purchasing with a realtor. We're working with them. So that was the question. Wow. What's the difference? Okay. How does the process differ? What to expect differently?
Well, I mean, from my stance, I always revert it to the first time I went through a home sale for me personally. And I was represented by my wife, Mariah. But keep this in mind. I'm the guy where I had no idea about real estate. I'm 19 at the time. I didn't even know how to pay my own taxes. I always had my CPA file, and I didn't know how to do it. And I was on W-2, and it's like $45 later, you did your taxes. So I had no idea about real life skills. And honestly, buying and selling real estate is one of these life skills I personally think should be taught in our schools, in a mastermind class, have a guest speaker, whatever. But here is one big difference why you being a buyer needs to be represented by another realtor. For one, it's absolutely free to you. Some buyers just think there's a charge for me showing you this property or submitting an offer. They think there's going to be some hidden invoice 2 days later in their email. Let's break that myth right now. That is not going to happen. The only way us as a buyer's agent representing you in any home sale is going to be when this home closes. When this home closes, it is not a fee of yours. This is coming out of the seller's commission they negotiated with the seller's agent. So you ask, well, why don't I just call the realtor on the sign? That seems convenient, right? Well, no, they're representing the seller. They have a due diligence, but a fiduciary duty to represent the seller well. It's very hard to represent two parties at one time, especially on $500,000, $600,000, $800,000 transactions. You don't want that because, in a sense, you want to have negotiating power if things are needed to be negotiated. I mean, right now we are in historical times when it comes to sell equity. So sellers, they're getting more money than ever. But right now we are getting concessions paid for on the majority of all of our closings, but also repairs. You send a repair request in the transaction when we do have an accepted offer. Sellers are willing to make these repairs. So if we're looking at these stick-built homes that need to have work, we're able to negotiate more for you guys. So that is another key characteristic why it's very important for you to have representation as a buyer. If you didn't have any representation, I mean, you're going to be paying out of pocket for a lawyer to draft up these I guess offers, or
sale
repair
agreement.
addendums. Yeah. And that's going to cost you money out of pocket, which, by the way, with us, there is no money out of pocket. Yeah. And then B, lawyers, they're not in this business day in, day out. This is not their life skill. Yes, they have a law degree in real estate, most likely, and that's where they're at. They have the contracts to get you where you want to be,
right. But they're not real estate.
They don't have the knowledge in the field that is going to help you or benefit you when it does come to negotiate and be in the transaction itself in today's market. I think that's valuable. Today's market is not yesterday's market. Think about that.
And another thing to add is a way that it'll differ looking on your own versus with a real estate professional is I've seen buyers in the past who were out looking, shopping for homes, and they ended their home search and they never ended up buying because they were looking on their own. They never ended up hiring a realtor. Maybe they had a few, realtors show them houses here or there, but they never just found one realtor who they used their services and they were loyal to. And I think that can really hurt you because your options are more limited. I could imagine if I were a home buyer, just scrolling through, Zillow or Redfin or Craigslist, or driving down the road looking at for sale signs. I think I would feel very confused if I was a home buyer just doing that and not working with a real estate agent, because those websites that you're seeing, that are available to the public, that buyers can look at homes out, themselves, which there's nothing wrong with that. You can totally look at homes yourselves on these websites. But a big problem is that, either they're one, not updated, or two, but what I mean by not updated is they might say the listing's available when it isn't, because they're just not as quick to update. And two, another problem could be that you just as a buyer aren't really sure how to read the listing. And so, you could come across a listing and it says active under contract, and you don't really know the difference between that and active because you're not a real estate agent. And so you think it's still available and it isn't. So I think having a real estate agent is going to just give you clarity because of course you can still look at homes on your own. We have clients that send us houses all the time and that's never a problem, but you're not going to miss anything and you're going to have clarity to know every single listing my realtor is sending me is for sure available. It doesn't have an accepted offer. They're not going to send me a listing
saving you time
that has an accepted offer. I just could imagine myself being really confused and it'd be just because of those things. And then the last thing I will add is legal representation. You could get to the day before closing and the seller changes their mind and you have to deal with that. You're on your own. You don't have someone fighting for you. You don't have, you might have legal contracts if you went through a lawyer, but sometimes people don't. You might have you might not have legal contracts. So there's just a lot of gray areas, a lot of blurred lines. It's a big purchase. You want someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah. And I mean, I hear these stories because I prospect to a lot of for sale by owners and expired listings. So I hear a lot of these war stories. It's a love-hate relationship with buyers because in the end, if you are selling for sale by owner, your whole goal is to save a commission on the seller side. But then you're working with these buyers that sometimes don't have representation. And that's where the stories come in with the buyers that don't have representation. They don't know what they're doing. You got to hold their hand through the process. The earnest money, sometimes they don't even turn it in or they're just wasting your time because they simply don't know the real estate process, the transaction side of things. Yeah. And so when you're dealing with agents like ourselves, top producing agents, we close units and we know the actual transaction process and we are educated and actually take classes that keep us informed on today's forms and let you know, here's an update. This is what this means if you have any questions. And this is all handled in minutes. I could not imagine representing myself as a buyer on a $400,000, $500,000, $800,000 transaction. It just wouldn't really feel like I'm doing myself a justice, especially now knowing that I've talked to you guys. I'm pointing at you. It's absolutely free. Okay. Yeah. So yes, it can be intimidated to call a professional, whether it's your taxes, real estate, a lawyer, something in a different field that you're not aware of. Yeah. Ask the questions. And that's what this is all about. So you guys, you're viewing this video and you don't have buyer's representation. Maybe you have an idea or maybe wanting to move here to Oregon. Who knows? This is where? Or
maybe sorry to cut you off, but maybe you're watching this because a lot of our viewers here aren't necessarily local to Oregon. Maybe you're watching this and you're in another state wanting to just buy a house anywhere outside of Oregon. We can help you. Contact us.
Yeah. Our another note is our referring program is unbelievable. And especially at our brokerage you work at right now, it's really progressive in a way of thinking. And when we talk about how we can be sending you homes that are updated with the MLS system, so actually available active homes, we're dealing with the CRM system that I don't want to brag about this, but it is the best CRM system out there, and it's for you guys. This is a simple service that we pay for, and it's for you. And so if you don't use it, I really think you're using yourself a disservice. And that's why logging on to our website is only going to benefit you in the long run because you get to customize your profile. Obviously, we just need your phone number, your full name, and an email address. So it can automatically put you in the system. You can talk to our AI assistant, but ultimately it's all about the property watch. Yeah. And we're part of every MLS system here in Oregon. And so that's why specifically if you have interest in moving to Oregon, you're maybe out of state, it's a good idea and a place to start.
And but where is that website?
That website's at vettruscrawfordrealty.com. I'm going to say that one more time, vettruscrawfordrealty.com. And it's super simple. We have made our website so user-friendly. I could do it. And I'm not tech savvy at all. I'm telling you. I have to educate myself so much on just the simplest of things. So use our website because on the back end, we have set it up for you guys to have success. And one other thing. Okay. I want to touch on this.
What?
buyers are a little confused on what loan program they need to purchase in. That's going to be your lender, okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes loan programs, they have different categories, meaning incomes, job descriptions, amount of time needed to be employed, W-2s, 1099s. That is not our field. That is the lender's field. Send all of that information in with his online application. If you need a lender, I can send you one right now. Go to our link, send us an email, and I'll get you one today. But what I'm saying is get the right loan program, because this is another great benefit. Online, Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, there's usually not an option that customizes the loan field, meaning only sending you home searches your loan is qualified for, whether you're VA home loan, FHA, USDA. We have that tool in our CRM, but ultimately in our MLS systems to send you the right homes for you. And I think that's huge in value.
That's huge, because just to clarify a little what he was saying, a lot of first-time buyers will, come across a house that maybe on Zillow they'll be interested in, and it looks like a great option. And maybe this buyer has an FHA loan or a USDA loan, and then they send us the home only to find out that the home is actually, it's only financeable with a conventional loan, or it's even cash only sometimes. So that's really important to just be aware of. Another reason why you want to work with a real estate agent. At the end of the day, our job is to make your life easier, and it's to make the home buying process easier. We're not perfect. No agent is perfect, but we are constantly doing what we can to stay on top of things and educate ourselves so that we are at the top of our field and just can give our clients the best service possible and know the most we can so that we can point you in the best direction possible, if that makes sense. So it's our job to make your life and buying process easier.
Easy.
Don't be afraid to reach out.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Yeah.
It's like that lemonade stand on the corner.
Okay.
Well, this is great though. This is a great educational video letting you guys know how we can better serve you, because in our industry, that's what it's all about. We would not be here without you guys, our audience, this viewership. And if you know somebody moving to Oregon or wanting to make a move or purchase anywhere you're at, like we mentioned before, we are very well connected with other brokers across the nation, and we can get somebody to help you today. Within 24 hours, somebody will be reaching out to you. Yeah. And I think that's huge in value.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next week.